Toya Jackson may carry one of the most famous surnames in entertainment history, but her journey is anything but predictable royalty. Behind the glitz of the Jackson legacy lies a woman who has been misunderstood, underestimated, and repeatedly tested by the weight of fame, family, and public scrutiny. Unlike her iconic brother Michael or sister Janet, Toya's fame hasn't always been about chart-topping success or revolutionary performances. Instead, her story reads more like a dramatic screenplay of reinvention, survival, and quiet redemption. From center stage to courtroom headlines, from bankruptcy filings to standing ovations on reality television, Toya has played more roles in real life than most do in fiction. The world watched her unravel under the influence of a controlling husband, then gasped as she pointed fingers at her own family, only to later walk back her most shocking claims. But here's where the story refuses to flatten. Toya didn't disappear. Instead, she resurfaced stronger, wealthier, and perhaps most striking of all, unapologetically herself. Her life today is a curated blend of luxury homes, Rolls-Royce elegance, low-key philanthropy, and a personal lifestyle steeped in wellness and introspection. Gone is the woman living under tabloid judgment. In her place is someone who now lives on her own terms. So how did she climb from scandal back to stability? What truths hide behind the tabloid ink? And how has she quietly amassed a fortune, a fan base, and a future far away from the family shadows? This isn't just a recap of her career. It's a story of reinvention, power, and the emotional comeback of a woman who refused to be forgotten. Toya Jackson's life today isn't defined by a last name. It's defined by everything she did to take that name back. Toya Jackson's career has often been eclipsed by the towering successes of her siblings. But what most people overlook is how she forged a unique and resilient path in the entertainment world, one not built on sheer superstardom, but on adaptability and bold reinvention. Her music career ignited in the 1980s, with the release of 9 studio albums over a decade, starting with her self-titled debut in 1980, and followed by projects like Heart Don't Lie in 1984, and Stop in the Name of Love in 1995. While her singles such as If You Feel the Funk, Just Want to Dance, and Heart Don't Lie may not have dominated global charts, they contributed to a lasting musical footprint and continue to generate royalties, affirming her place in pop culture history. But music was just one facet. In 1992, she made headlines after signing a reported $5 million contract with the famed Moulin Rouge in Paris, making her the highest-paid performer in the venue's history. Although the contract ended prematurely and resulted in a $550,000 penalty, the deal marked a defining moment, proof that her name alone carried star power. She later transitioned into writing, releasing 2 best-selling memoirs, Toya, Growing Up in the Jackson Family and Starting Over, both of which peeled back layers of fame to reveal the pain and perseverance behind her public persona. Reality television further cemented her relevance, with appearances on Celebrity Apprentice, RuPaul's Drag Race, and Armed and Famous. Each new format brought fresh eyes and proved her knack for staying culturally visible. Through decades of highs and lows, Toya didn't just survive, she kept evolving, turning each career pivot into a statement of independence. Despite moments of headline-grabbing success, Toya Jackson's financial history reads like a roller coaster of dramatic peaks and devastating drops, revealing the brutal consequences of misplaced trust and toxic relationships in the glittering world of fame. Her 1992 Moulin Rouge contract not only made her a multi-million-dollar headline, but also placed her at the center of European cabaret glamour until the deal soured. Exiting the contract prematurely, she was slapped with a $550,000 judgment, a financial blow that previewed worse to come. Things deteriorated quickly under the influence of her husband and manager Jack Gordon, whose tight grip on her career and finances would later drive her into bankruptcy. By 1999, she had lost her $260,000 Las Vegas condo in the elite Regency Towers due to nearly $746,000 in unpaid debts, a painful collapse in the middle of a life once lined with glamour. Though these setbacks could have destroyed her completely, Toya instead funneled her energy into new ventures, launching a leather and suede fashion line with David Lauren, creating a cosmetics brand for women of color with mahogany image, and even releasing a personal fragrance called Toya. Despite the damage done to her financial reputation, she clawed her way back through brand endorsements, some mainstream like Nikon, others more questionable like the Psychic Friends Network. Each opportunity brought her revenue, yet it also kept her tethered to an unpredictable public image. And still, despite these drastic reversals, she rebuilt. Her life is a cautionary tale about the cost of fame and control, but also a rare example of how you can rise again even after you've lost everything. The story of Toya Jackson's real estate choices mirrors the shifts in her life, from the chaos of financial control to the serenity of independent living. In the mid-1990s, she purchased a condo in Las Vegas's upscale Regency Towers for $260,000. Nestled in the heart of the city's most glittering strip, the unit was luxurious, featuring waterfall kitchen countertops, stainless steel appliances, walk-in showers, and a sweeping balcony that offered panoramic views of downtown Las Vegas. It had all the markers of celebrity lifestyle: rooftop pools, concierge services, and private parking. But behind the luxury was turmoil. The condo became buried under multiple mortgages and mounting debt. By 1999, she owed nearly $746,000 and lost the property to foreclosure, an experience that not only signified her financial rock bottom, but symbolized a life spiraling under the thumb of Jack Gordon. Fast forward to today, and a very different Toya emerges, now settled in a refined, tranquil home in San Diego's Saratoga at Stonecrest Village. Her 100-square-foot townhouse is modest in comparison, but designed for peace: 2 bedrooms, remodeled bathrooms, hardwood floors, and a fully updated kitchen with granite countertops and high-end appliances. Outside, a private balcony overlooks peaceful greenery, far removed from the casino skyline she once lived beneath. This new home isn't just about location, it's about liberation. After decades of being boxed in by others' expectations, this San Diego retreat represents control, healing, and balance. It's not the flashiest chapter in her story, but perhaps it's the most meaningful, revealing how sometimes the greatest luxury is privacy and peace. For Toya Jackson, luxury isn't limited to zip codes. It extends to horsepower and handcrafted interiors, and her garage offers a vivid portrait of status, taste, and self-made style. The centerpiece of her car collection is the Bentley Continental GTC, a convertible marvel of British engineering, starting at over $250,000. Beneath its sleek hood roars a 6.0-liter W12 engine that delivers 626 horsepower and accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.7 seconds. Inside, the vehicle is outfitted with hand-stitched leather seats, polished wood veneers, and customizable features that elevate every ride to first-class status. It's not just a car, it's a rolling statement of power, performance, and poise. But the Bentley is just one piece of her automotive puzzle. Sharing the garage is a Rolls-Royce Phantom, the epitome of vehicular opulence, valued around $460,000. With its twin-turbocharged V12 engine and a cabin that feels more like a mobile penthouse, complete with starlight headliner and reclining jet-style rear seats, the Phantom offers unmatched comfort and near-silent travel. For Toya, whose life has been defined by constant public noise, this vehicle is a sanctuary on wheels. These cars aren't props. They are extensions of a woman who has earned her luxuries, not through inherited privilege, but through a relentless pursuit of reinvention. Whether arriving at a red carpet event or quietly exiting a charity gala, Toya Jackson moves with the kind of effortless class you can't fake. Her garage, like her career, is curated to reflect not just where she's been, but who she has become. While many stars fade into obscurity after their prime, Toya Jackson found a surprising resurgence through the unpredictable and wildly popular world of reality television. Beginning with appearances in the 2000s, she carved out a new lane for herself as a compelling reality personality. She surprised critics with her performance on Celebrity Apprentice, where she raised $65,000 for AIDS Project LA and showed the world a savvy, competitive side. She later stepped into the absurd charm of Worst Cooks in America, winning not just laughs but $25,000 for the Race to Erase MS charity. Her charm wasn't limited to American audiences. Toya took on Celebrity Big Brother UK, and then conquered international audiences as a recurring contestant on The Masked Singer. In 2010, she was unmasked as the alien in the US version, sparking fan nostalgia and online chatter. She later appeared as Menina in the Spanish edition, and most recently as Burger Gal in the 2023 Australian series. These appearances weren't gimmicks, They were master classes in longevity. With each new show, LaToya introduced herself to a younger generation, while reminding longtime fans why she remains a cultural fixture. In a media landscape that thrives on reinvention, LaToya proved she could adapt, surprise, and endure. Reality TV didn't revive her career, it gave her a whole new one. Behind the luxury and headlines, Toya Jackson's lesser-known identity is that of a passionate philanthropist whose actions speak far louder than her interviews. While many celebrities champion causes with high-profile campaigns, Toya has taken a more understated route, donating, fundraising, and raising awareness without seeking center stage. One of her most heartfelt endeavors has been with AIDS Project Los Angeles, APLA, a torch she picked up from her late brother Michael Jackson and carried with fierce dedication. During her time on Celebrity Apprentice, she successfully raised $65,000 for APLA, but her contributions extended far beyond televised charity. In 2009, reeling from the loss of Michael, she released the emotional single Home, pledging every cent of its proceeds to the organization. Her generosity didn't stop there. In 2018, LaToya stepped out of her comfort zone to appear on Worst Cooks in America, winning $25,000 for the Race to Erase MS charity, demonstrating that even in light-hearted competition, her heart was focused on those in need. She's also been quietly active with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, contributing both financially and personally to the dreams of critically ill children, although much of her involvement remains intentionally low-key. Her support for the American Red Cross reflects a broader commitment to global aid, stepping up during times of natural disaster and crisis. And beyond big-name nonprofits, LaToya has backed numerous causes linked to children's education, animal rights, and mental health, often choosing to support quietly rather than seek recognition. Her dedication to the LGBTQ+ community has also been unwavering, showing up at Pride events, making public statements, and championing equality when others stayed silent. In a world where celebrity activism is often performative, LaToya's philanthropic work stands as quietly impactful, shaped by a genuine desire to help, uplift, and heal, proof that her legacy goes well beyond stage lights and spotlights. While LaToya Jackson's professional life has been a constant evolution, her romantic journey has played out with equal parts mystery, speculation, and media frenzy, often blurring the lines between reality and reality TV. One of the most talked about chapters came in December 2013, when widespread reports claimed she had secretly married her longtime business partner and close confidant, Jeffrey Phillips, in Los Angeles. The story quickly caught fire, spreading through tabloids and entertainment news like a wildfire. Fueled by years of friendship and a carefully crafted engagement storyline featured on her own network reality series, Life with LaToya. In the show, Phillips is seen proposing to her on camera, with family friend Brenda Harvey Ritchie present and supportive, and LaToya revealing that the proposal had the blessing of her father, Joe Jackson. It had all the makings of a feel-good celebrity romance, and the audience bought into the idea of a private love finally going public. But behind the scenes, the reality was more complicated. Both LaToya and Jeffrey later confirmed they were never legally married, clarifying that the proposal was encouraged as part of the show's narrative arc. While their bond was, and remains, genuine, the engagement did not translate into marriage. By February 2015, LaToya announced that the two had called off the engagement, though they stayed on remarkably good terms. Their professional relationship endured, with Phillips continuing to manage elements of her career. This entire saga highlighted the blurred boundaries between authentic emotional connections and the demands of storytelling in reality television. In many ways, it also reflected LaToya's core struggle, maintaining personal authenticity in a world constantly asking her to play a role. Unlike many Hollywood love stories that crash and burn publicly, hers simply evolved into a deep, enduring friendship, rooted in trust, business, and mutual respect. It wasn't the fairy tale fans expected, but it was in its own way quietly enduring. Perhaps the darkest and most controversial chapter in LaToya Jackson's life unfolded in 1990, when she stood at a podium in Tel Aviv and delivered a statement that shocked the world, publicly accusing her brother Michael Jackson of child abuse, allegations that were already gripping global media. Claiming she had seen checks allegedly paid to the families of young boys, including James Safechuck and Jonathan Spence, LaToya said she could no longer stay silent. But what was first seen as a stunning whistleblower moment soon unraveled into something much more disturbing. At the time, LaToya was estranged from her family, and under the psychological and financial control of her husband and manager Jack Gordon, a man later exposed as abusive and manipulative. It would take years for LaToya to break free from his grasp, and even longer to reclaim her name from the damage those televised accusations caused. In 2011, she publicly recanted the statements explaining that she never believed Michael was guilty and had been coerced by Gordon to say those words under threat and duress. Her retraction came during a time when she was rebuilding ties with her family and reclaiming control over her career and voice. Though she went on to support Michael publicly during his later legal battles, the scars of that 1990 press conference remain etched in her legacy. It caused a lasting rift with her siblings, and for many fans left a lingering question mark over her loyalty and motivations. But with hindsight and context, her retraction revealed a deeper tragedy, not just in the accusations themselves, but in the fact that they were the product of abuse, manipulation, and a desperate attempt to escape control. For LaToya, it was more than just an apology. It was a public reckoning with the ways she had been used as a weapon against her own family. Her journey since has been a testament to repair, redemption, and the heavy cost of speaking under someone else's script. If there's one thing LaToya Jackson has never lacked, it's the courage to be controversial, even when the backlash was unforgiving, and the consequences deep. In 1989 and again in 1991, she shocked the world by posing for Playboy magazine, a move that stunned both her fans and the famously conservative Jackson family. The photographs were bold, provocative, and entirely at odds with the image of LaToya many had grown up with. But behind the glitz of those glossy pages was a more sinister reality. Her then manager and husband Jack Gordon had reportedly coerced her into the photo shoots as part of his relentless exploitation of her career. And while the Playboy covers garnered attention, they did little to boost her music sales, and instead shifted public perception, branding her as the rebel Jackson sister in ways she never intended. But the scandal didn't stop there. In her 1991 memoir LaToya, growing up in the Jackson family, she made explosive claims against her father Joe Jackson, accusing him of both physical and sexual abuse. She painted a harrowing picture of life inside the Jackson household, alleging that the environment was so traumatic that some siblings had attempted to take their own lives. Though certain former family employees corroborated parts of her story, the Jackson family issued strong denials. In later years, LaToya admitted that parts of the book had been exaggerated or even dictated by Gordon, but she stood firmly by her central claim that the abuse she and her siblings endured was very real. The memoir deepened the already existing divisions in the family and cast a long shadow over her relationship with her relatives. While some viewed her as a truth-teller speaking uncomfortable realities, others dismissed her as seeking attention or sensationalism. In truth, it was neither. It was the sound of a woman desperately trying to take back control of her story, even if it meant torching bridges behind her. These controversies didn't just define a period, they nearly destroyed her. But as with every chapter of her life, LaToya turned scandal into survival. In the whirlwind of LaToya Jackson's life, from pop star to controversial icon, from reality TV staple to philanthropist, the present chapter might be her most quietly powerful yet. Living in San Diego in a calm, elegant townhome surrounded by nature and comfort, LaToya has intentionally stepped back from the limelight while embracing a more wellness-oriented, introspective lifestyle. In October 2023, she announced a significant personal change by adopting a vegetarian lifestyle, a decision rooted in both health consciousness and ethical responsibility. This shift aligned with her ongoing support for animal rights and wellness charities, further reflecting a woman who now chooses peace over performance. But in December 2024, fans were rocked when she posted a photo from Qatar on Instagram. Her noticeably frail appearance and significant weight loss ignited a wave of concern online, with speculation fueled further by the recent death of her brother Tito just months earlier in September. Though no official health update was given, the photo served as a reminder that even in privacy, LaToya remains a lightning rod for public interest and worry. Whether the image reflected grief, lifestyle change, or simply an unflattering moment remains unclear, but the reaction it sparked underscores how deeply invested the public remains in her journey. Through the quiet and the chaos, the scandals and the comebacks, LaToya Jackson's life today is marked not by noise, but by intention. She has reclaimed her identity, rebuilt her stability, and now lives on her own terms. And while the headlines may have faded, her story continues, just a little softer, a little wiser, and still unfolding. LaToya Jackson's life is a living archive of reinvention, proving that resilience isn't always loud, and redemption doesn't need applause. Born into one of the most iconic families in music history, she was never simply Michael's sister or the quiet Jackson. Her journey bent under the weight of fame, personal betrayal, public controversy, and financial ruin. Yet she never broke. She simply shifted, reshaped, and rewrote her narrative on her own terms. From charting her own musical path in the 80s, to weathering bankruptcy in the 90s, from explosive headlines to quiet humanitarianism, Toya carved a space that is uniquely hers, one where luxury and modesty coexist, where flashbacks meet fresh starts, and where public pain transformed into personal power. Her current life in California, a far cry from the chaos of Vegas, mirrors that transformation, elegant, intentional, and peaceful. Whether gliding in a Bentley or donating behind the scenes, Toya's story reveals that the road to self-liberation is rarely glamorous, but it is always worth it. Her legacy may not be measured in platinum records or packed arenas, but in something far rarer: authentic survival and the ability to reclaim the narrative, even when the world thinks it knows how your story ends.